Hi, it's Karen, the Weekend Craftaholic. Thanks for joining me. And today I wanted to share with you a little pocket exchange that I've created for Christmas. So this has been organised by the Stamp Spot, and this is the second year that Michelle from the Stamp Spot has organised this. So what I've done this year is actually put my pockets inside a Kaiser Craft sheet. So you can see this is 6 by 8. Last year I did a 12 by 12, and I'm just giving you a quick flick through now of the finished product, but I will show you a little bit closer detail because what I wanted to do was really talk about the different steps and the approach to making a pocket advent calendar. So even if you're not part of an organised exchange, this might be something you want to do as a gift for a fellow crafty friend, or to be honest, it doesn't have to be a fellow crafter. If you're a crafter yourself and you've got plenty of supplies in your stash that you want to burst, this would be a great way to do that. So first of all, choose your supplies. I often find having a coordinated collection makes life so much easier. You don't need to worry about whether the colours are cohesive, whether they blend, whether they... Of course, Christmas in Australia is the middle of summer, so it definitely isn't winter, definitely no snowflakes, but I absolutely love this collection from last year, and I did resist buying it last year, but the colours and the themes were too much for me to resist this year, so I bought it with the intention of doing the pocket exchange. Now this big chipboard piece you can see at the back, that's the one thing that I did buy last year, and I used that in my 12 days of Christmas crafting, so I'm going to put some links for that if you've not seen that, because I did actually make some extra Christmas goodies with that last year. But this year, as you can see, I bought some 12 by 12 sheets as well as the 6 by 8 pad, sticker books, and also some embellishments. Now, of course, you don't need all of that as part of your collection when you're gathering your supplies. Basic pattern paper would do because you can obviously fussy cut out some of the paper as well, but it just makes your life a little bit easier. Now the next step is your plastic pockets, of course, because the whole point of this exchange is to make a little advent calendar for someone. So whether that's a 12 days of Christmas or 25 days, decide what you're going to do and what size to put them in. And then the next thing is cutting down your paper pieces to match that. So a lot of mine here are 3 by 2 inch, and there is a couple of 6 by 4 as well, as you can see. So I've cut down those, put them in a bit of a random order. You can see I'm using my phone actually for once to film this because I actually wanted to show you where I spread it out and laid out all over my craft room to use. Now I've gone with 25 days of Christmas, so the next thing for me is just adding those numbers to each of them. Now again, you can randomize them or you can put them sequential. I'm going to put mine sequential this time. And what I've done, I've also cut out using my punches these circles, because depending on the colour of the pattern paper, the numbers might not stand out. So I'm using a combination of white and that kind of peachy pink colour as well as for my background, but I'm going to actually stick those onto the circles so that it does stand out a little bit more on the front card as well. Now once I've done that, I've stuck them all down all the way 1 through to 25. I've then stitched them with a chain stitch on my sewing machine. So this is going to make sure I don't lose any of them. I know they're in the right order. I've already placed all the circles and the numbers on each of those little pockets, so I know which colour I need. That was the one thing I did wrong last year. I made them all up without actually checking my paper fronts. So definitely make sure you check and make sure that they're going to stand out. You don't want them blending too much against that. And I'm just putting them there with the rest of my little embellishments. So some of the 12 by 12 sheets that I got, I did actually buy the ones that I could cut apart. So some of them had little gift tags, some of them had quotes, and the next step is obviously embellishing these card fronts with that. So you can see again, I've got a mix of the chipboard pieces, I've got this cardstock sticker sheet as well as the sticker book. Now I'm just going to give you a quick glance of these because again you can see you actually want your embellishments to stand out a little. So I've made a couple of shaker pockets here with some sequins. I've also used the chipboard pieces. Some of them I've foiled around the outside edge like this with coordinating coloured gold foil. And then I've also used my punch as well on some of them, or this one's an example where I've just done a little bit of stitching, but what I was going to say is I also use my punch, and then that way it kind of gives it a little bit of a different effect, as you can see on that one there for the 15th day. So I'm going to go through all of these and just show you some different designs. It doesn't have to be complicated, it doesn't have to take too long, but I find it keeps me organized having this process in mind and all of these steps to follow. And I will list all of these steps in the description box below, as well as all the supplies that I've used as well, if you are interested in trying this. Now, of course, the Advent Exchange is finished for this year, but if you're interested for future years, please follow the Stamp Spot on Facebook. And that way you'll be kept informed of any upcoming exchanges. So quickly moving on to my next step here, you can see that I used my 123 punch from We're Memory Keepers to make the little envelopes because I wanted the gifts inside to be hidden so there was no peeking for the advent calendar. Where the fun really starts when you start adding your gifts inside the envelopes. Now, of course, this is a crafty exchange, so I've put lots of crafty goodies inside, and it is quite a challenge trying to keep it flat. You can see some of them I've not quite managed that, but I did manage to keep it inside the pockets. Now we've almost finished here, but my next step is just to attach it all together, and what I'm doing is really just adding a bit of trim. I'm using some book rings, as you can see here, just to keep them all together, and you can do this any way you like. You could just tie ribbon around those if you prefer, rather than use book rings. My final step is just to actually now cover the backs of those envelopes, which you might prefer to do before you attach them all together. But as you see here, now it's almost like a book. You can see the backs of the envelopes, and I do like those to be covered up. Is my 10 steps to making a pocket advent exchange. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you'll join us again next week for more crafting goodness. Otherwise, have a great crafting weekend. Thanks for joining.